In the wrestling world, the people are represented by two separate but unequally important groups. The wrestlers and bookers, who literally do all the hard work, and the fans, who endlessly nitpick and overanalyze everything they do. These are their stories.
Hey! It's Warhorse, and you need to shut your mouth, open your eyes, and clean out your ears, because it's time to listen to the Raw and Order podcast. That's right, they're bringing you the best in all that meaty podcasty goodness in one, what is it, an hour? Two? Who cares? Who gives a shit? You need to listen to it right now, or else Warhorse is gonna, roll your ass!
Welcome to another episode of Raw and Order, the Wrestling Booking Unit, the only wrestling podcast on the planet emanating from, apparently, the 1920s Grapes of Wrath Dust Bowl. I don't know. I had to drive through central Nebraska, and it was not nice out there. I am your host, Detective Mark Sparks, and I am joined, as always, by my partners in crime fighting, starting off, District Attorney Vincent Kayfabe. What's going on, man? How are you?
You had to drive through central Nebraska, and it was not great there, huh?
It was not. No. I couldn't.
It's almost like one of us has to live in that Dust Bowl.
I'd say has to or chooses to.
Chooses to. It's a beautiful house in the middle of nowhere. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it is a beautiful house. I agree. But no, yeah, from, what was it? It was about Aurora to almost York. No, to past York, almost Lincoln.
York to Seward on the interstate, my family calls the vortex. It can be a beautiful day, and it will still be windy and miserable in there. If there's dust moving at all, there will be massive amounts of it between York and Seward. Your phone will drop during that area. It's a horrible.
I didn't have any phone issues. This was worse than I've ever seen it. The dust was so thick. We had less than a quarter mile visibility. Right.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me in the least.
It was nuts. We got out at York to get something to drink and eat real quick. And I was like, holy fucking Oklahoma Grapes of Wrath. What the fuck is this?
This is the drought is strong with these ones.
Yes. Also joining us from up north, RCMP JLB. What's going on, man?
It goes, guys. Yeah, that whole foggy weather does not sound fun. Is that just always in central Nebraska?
It's not fog.
It is not fog. This is dust. This is
dirt.
Dirt flying in the air.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus.
This is it. I jokingly said Grapes of Wrath. You want a picture of it? Watch the movie Grapes of Wrath. That's about the 1920s Dust Bowl.
John Steinbeck. Do you really think JLB's cultured enough to know Steinbeck?
No.
Ouch.
Not.
I've heard of it.
not the VeggieTales version of Grapes of Wrath. Not these are the grapes of wrath. We never take a bath. Sorry, but that's also Grapes of Wrath.
Before we went live, I was showing my co-hosts here that I have an addiction. I have a problem right now. I have a problem, and it just seems to be getting worse.
I mean, in defense, it's not like people couldn't tell based on your wall behind you.
That's true.
I usually try to limit myself to just one or maybe two a week.
You done failed
a day.
This was a failure. It was. I done failed. But I had to. So I will be probably blissfully opening.
You had to, or you chose to?
I had no choice. There was no choice in this matter.
In defense, I will say that rather than watch NXT, I let one of my
you missed a great NXT
addictions
then.
occur. Because today, because I didn't get to see it last night, I was busy. But today, rather than watch it, I watched a Ghostbusters marathon.
Oh, okay.
So,
did you get all the way up to the newest one, Afterlife?
No, I just watched the first two and made cookies and
Is it really a marathon if it's only 2 movies?
Well, it's 4 hours of movie time, so
That's fair. Why are you opening it?
What are you letting breathe? What are you letting breathe? Is this Lex?
This is Lex
Lexi?
Luger. Yep. I let them all breathe.
Letting it
Almost
breathe.
all.
Yeah.
Gotta let it breathe.
So both of you let it breathe. I thought there was someone on this podcast that actually just chose. Well, you obviously not. I see all your wrestlers in the back. There's some
he has not.
Yeah, there's a few. I've got a CM Punk over here. I've got my Sting collection one over there, and I've got you probably can't see it, but behind me I've got a Cody LJN that I didn't. For the most part, I'd like to let him breathe for 2 reasons. Number one, first before we get too far into this, hi Ambrosia.
Hey, hello.
Had
What's
to
happening?
say hi.
Did you kick his ass in some Tetris today?
No, we both tied on Jeopardy.
They tied on Jeopardy.
I beat her. I beat her in one game, and she. Well, she didn't technically win either, but I completely lost the second round. So.
I mean, I feel like you and Jeopardy doesn't really.
Wow, just calling me idiots, all kinds. Trying to use the nicest way to call me an idiot, huh? Don't know Grapes of Wrath. I feel like Jeopardy is in your game.
I mean, if I said Steinbeck, could you name another Steinbeck novel other than Grapes of Wrath? Because I already gave you that one.
I could honestly, I know he's an author, and I know he's has a lot of classics, but I can honestly not know. Just because I don't know authors.
I mean, there's one you've likely read in school, as long as your school is not lunatic.
It's not Mice and Men.
Mice and Men. That
of Mice and Men is one, yes.
Oh snap! Okay,
it's one of many.
Yeah, I mean he's
one of many.
Here's the thing is,
his best novel is Grapes of Wrath, though. It's significantly better than Of Mice and Men.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
As a novel. Fair. I will open up my Kindle and
Winter
maybe give it a download.
Our Discontent is exceptional, but that's
Steinbeck was my dad's favorite author, and so we always had Steinbeck books around the house. But yeah,
but he's generally always family.
Ooh, I forgot Travels with Charlie.
Mm-hmm. Grapes of Wrath, Of Mice and Men, In Dubious Battle, East of Eden, which eventually got turned into an excellent James Dean movie.
Shit, how did I miss that one? That might actually be better than Grapes of Wrath.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Grapes of Wrath is so good as a novel.
Did they made that into? They didn't make that into a film. I feel like that was also a film. No,
Grapes of Wrath was a film. Yes.
Yeah. So was
with Henry Ford. I believe Grapes of Wrath was Henry Ford. It's been so long since I've seen the movie that now
some of those could be better done today. Mice and Men, I really think the John Malkovich version is exceptional.
Yeah. The John Malkovich of Mice
that you could not make today. It would be considered too mean.
Oh, there's so much. Yeah, it'd be canceled for sure in today's day and age. Absolutely.
It would be a great movie to make today. It's just
Henry Ford in Grapes of Wrath, directed by John Ford. Phenomenal movie. It's been a long time since I've seen
it. Now, as movies go, I think the Malkovich version of
this movie was 1940.
The Grapes of Wrath movie.
Probably.
Yeah, that's better. I mean, the book was 1939. So.
He was not well liked on the East Coast. The Pearl. See? Yeah, brochure in on this.
Yeah.
Okay.
You said
this cover is very familiar too.
You said East of Eden's been a movie?
Yeah.
I've never seen the movie version.
One of James Dean's movies.
I've never seen it. I didn't even
in fact, it's kind of the movie that
came out in 1955.
Launched James Dean. It didn't. He had already been in another movie, but it was kind of the one that
Julie Harris, James Dean, and Raymond Massey.
Mm-hmm. It's phenomenal. His performance,
I would bet,
absolutely phenomenal. And then he did.
Those are the types of novels they don't make into movies anymore. I have argued with numerous people on whether or not the Orwell 1984 is worth a crap as a movie. It was horrible. The British movie. I thought the book is a bajillion times better. Why are we talking culture on a
I don't
podcast?
know. Also, just so everyone knows, I will also be opening these tonight.
All of them?
Yes.
I feel like because I'm only going to open one pack of my hanger.
Well, but your one pack has 15 cards. My
Jesus Christ,
entire box has
card opening.
16 cards.
Okay.
No,
did you buy those along
cards.
with all the action?
I had these from before.
Okay.
I chose not to buy any more cards this week because I was buying shit tons of action figures. So, I'm gonna debate. I may keep the Sammy Guevara in box. I haven't decided. Anyways, let's talk wrestling. This week. So.
These are the grapes.
What happened this week in wrestling? What happened? Bray made more cryptic statements on SmackDown. We still don't know what the fuck's going on with that.
Which is exactly
I still think it's 6 personalities of him. I did not enjoy the music playing while he was talking, though. I did not get why they made that a thing. It just didn't work for me. At first it was fine, but I felt like the volume was too high and it kind of was like just kind of all over. It was his theme song. I get it, whatever. But it was just pointless to me, especially when it got louder. And I'm like, why are you getting louder? This is not working. I'm not intrigued anymore. I'm not hooked. Like, I want to hear him speak, especially people like Bray Wyatt. This guy has such... he has such great wording. He's a wordsmith. So like, I want to hear him. I want to hear what he has to say. Fuck his theme song. Cancel that shit. So his promo took away a little bit because of the music for me, but still pretty cryptic, I guess.
I thought his promo was fine. I will say that I'm not as big of a fan of his new music.
Yeah,
I wish they would have brought back the old Bray music, but that's me. Whatevs. I guess.
Kermit the Frog.
The big thing this week, we talked about it a bit on Tuesday night, when we were doing our
fantasy
booking. But Hangman Page.
Okay.
It's now, it was a concussion, a severe concussion. He is going in the concussion protocol. We will not see him on TV until he clears concussion protocol. And if they're smart, a little bit longer, right? Let him heal, right? Same thing with Adam Cole. His concussion, just let him heal. The last thing we need in this year, where the NFL is getting lit up on a regular basis over their failures in concussion protocol. The last thing we need is AEW to push too fast for anyone. You've got a lot of stars that you can tap into to cover during this time. And I don't know, maybe there's a wild thought. Maybe you let the women wrestle a bit more.
I like it.
Just maybe.
Who would speak such words?
We've seen Abaddon, I think, on Dynamite twice. Maybe 3 times. She's been on Dark a lot.
Yeah, and 'tis the season to have Abaddon on TV.
Yeah, fucking have Abaddon on TV, right? Yeah. And have her just rip through people. Abaddon rip through the Bunny. Abaddon rip through Kiera Hogan, Julia Hart.
Or no, have a match, because I don't want you to have... Yeah, but I also want you to have a legitimate match, though. Don't give me a fucking squash
I'm not
match.
saying it's not. It has to be a squash, but it's still you have her rip through. You know, because you need to. You have someone who I think has a very legitimate chance of being a cultural touchstone for this company. You know what I mean? Standout in Abaddon, something that no other company has. Let her do it. Let her come out and be the creepy. You know, she had that one match with Hikaru Shida, and they told the story with the match with Hikaru Shida that Hikaru Shida didn't know what to do with her, right? And was basically scared. That's what you need to do. She is literally the Undertaker, you know, the supernatural character that you can use in that exact same way. If you let her. Letting Sting breathe next. I gotta tell you though, WWE knows how to do packaging better. And by WWE, I mean fucking, what is it? What company they use now? Mattel. Jazzware's packaging.
What? Because you can't open it?
No, I can't. You almost have to destroy the package to get an AEW figure out. Whereas the WWE figures, you can get out without just making the package look absolutely messed up.
Right.
Because even though like I say, I want them to breathe. I firmly believe that action figures are toys, and toys are meant to be played with, meant to be displayed, meant to be shown off.
That's what she said. Sorry.
Yeah, you're right. That's what she said. But the other thing, and I've said this before, collectors need people like me.
Yes, they do.
Because if everyone bought their action figures and kept them all pristine in their thing, then they'd never go up in value.
Yep, that's fair.
So they should be thanking me. Oh no, I broke it. Sting's in two pieces now.
He broke his back. His back is broken.
You son of a bitch.
Spinal.
First Seth Rollins, now you. God damn it.
It's spinal.
Spinal.
Okay, he's back. He's fine.
I broke my back. My back is broken.
My back's broken.
Spinal.
Fucking Tyson.
Such a great interview. What? Your back is broken right now? Like the vertebrae?
Yeah, spinal.
No,
Spinal.
That reminds me. I can't remember what his name is. He's a comedian who has gone on to be in UFC fights. I think it is.
Okay.
I gotta find this. And he was being interviewed after his MMA fight. And he says, to his next opponent, so and so in Sacramento, I'm gonna come into your house and I'm gonna murder you. And the interviewer's like, "You mean in the ring, right?" He goes, "No, in real life." It was the best. I gotta see if I can find the video.
Off the cuff, folks. This is what happens when we talk off the cuff.
Yep. And one of our co-hosts has ADD galore.
One of them?
One of them?
You do too, it's true. We all do. I do as well.
Yeah. Yeah, you're trying to deflect away from you. But
it's bad. Spinal.
Spinal.
ADD went all the way to my spine. It's spinal. Oh, jeez.
I broke my back. My back is broken.
My back hurts.
Spinal.
Well, while you're looking for that, kind of wrestling related, I did watch Black Adam.
Okay, give us a review.
Give you a little teeny tiny review. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm totally a fan of The Rock being or Dwayne Johnson being Black Adam. I thought the supporting actors were better than Dwayne was. Dwayne had his moments, but I don't know.
Supporting actors make great superhero movies. It's just a proven fact.
I mean, Pierce Brosnan, okay? Hate that guy. But in this movie, he was the glue that held everything together.
You're going to mute him because he said he hates Pierce Brosnan?
yes.
Who is the best
He's not the best James Bond. You shut your face.
Best James Bond behind Sean Connery. Blows Roger Moore out of the water.
Don't even bring up George Lazenby.
Amen.
Fuck George.
Didn't
Lazenby.
he only do like
one.
2 James
One.
Bonds? Or
One.
One?
Single one.
George Lazenby did one.
And then they brought back Sean Connery because he sucked.
I guess I'm special.
Roger Moore was brought in because James Connery was getting too old.
Sean Connery, yeah.
Sean Connery.
Yeah, sure.
James Connery's his son. I don't even know if that's his son's name.
Sean Connery still looked younger than Roger Moore did.
Damn.
Well,
and then there was like a 10, 12-year hiatus before we had Pierce Brosnan.
Well,
who was better than Daniel Craig, but Daniel Craig wasn't bad.
So
I'm not mad.
Like, Daniel Craig is better.
No, he was not, and I will fight you on that. I in real life.
Still waiting for that Braun Benny's match, Mister.
I'm shooting here. I will fly up there in real life and punch you. Daniel Craig is not Bond. He does good movies. They're fucking great action movies, but they're not James Bond.
He's Bond. He orders the same martini.
No.
Shake and not stir, damn it.
Doesn't matter. Fucking thousands of people order that.
How many people order a stirred martini? I'm just
with his gadgets.
He doesn't have gadgets.
He has gadgets.
Q has the gadgets.
No, and fucking Daniel Craig has almost no gadgets. Right? Seriously.
But he's also
the movies.
He's also keep in mind he is doing the first two. He's doing the early Ian
Fleming novels that had lots of gadgets in them.
I understand. I'm just
no. Here's the deal.
When they started with Dr. No, they skipped like 6 books.
Yeah, I've read them all. I know exactly what it is. And the Casino Royale still had gadgets in it. You know why? Because Ian Fleming was a former British Special Forces, a Secret Service agent, a spy. He knew it's a fucking. And so he wrote these books knowing exactly what sorts of shit the British government was making up for their spies. There are gadgets in all of them, up until Daniel Craig comes along, and he's got no fucking gadgets, right? He had the thing to shock his heart, but that was in the car, and that was basically the only thing in the car. You know, car didn't have machine guns, it didn't have fucking ejector seats, it didn't have oil slick behind it.
Turn invisible.
Yeah, didn't it? Yeah, exactly. Didn't it like turn invisible?
He was the first one to have the invisible car, but it could turn invisible.
I mean,
but
that's pretty gadgety.
Fucking Pierce Brosnan had a car that he could drive by remote from his phone. He sat in the back seat of it, laying down, driving it by remote on his phone. Right? Here's the important thing. I do want to point out that in this entire conversation, we've entirely ignored Timothy Dalton's Bond. Because fuck Timothy Dalton's Bond.
There really are two exceptional, one okay. I feel the way you're talking about Daniel Craig, I feel like you're not giving him enough credit. But
No. The thing is, he's just not Bond. And the biggest one is, as a person who read the books are very clear on describing what James Bond is supposed to look like.
you're gonna go after the blonde hair.
The blonde hair is one of
Oh
them.
my
He's
god!
he's also supposed to be relatively skinny and suave, and Daniel Craig was none of those. Daniel Craig was Jason Bourne.
How are you gonna feel about Idris Elba if he's a Bond?
Slightly better, but it's probably not going to happen. But at least then it's a total change of thing. Now here's the deal. They could have made me a little happier, and then they fucked it up by just saying that Bond is a code name, right? That when you're the Agent 7, you get named James Bond, and then you become 007 once you have your second kill, and you get your license to kill. And now you're 007 James Bond. But no, in the movie, they show his ancestral home, and that has a big name on the front that says Bond, right? So they made it canon in the movie that his actual name is James Bond, and he is James Bond, which also makes it really hard to justify how there have been 3 different M's, 2 different Q's,
Yep.
and multiple different James Bonds over the year.
Multiple
money pennies. And all you had to do was just say it's the code name. That's how it's existed since the 60s, is it's the code name.
You okay, bud?
It'll be all right.
I'm calm. I'm okay. I'll be fine.
But yeah, with that said, Pierce Brosnan, Daniel Craig,
second best James Bond,
and Sean Connery.
Because Pierce Brosnan fucking rules.
I just really loved GoldenEye. And what is it? The day after tomorrow? Not the day after tomorrow. Yeah, GoldenEye and like Tomorrow Never Dies.
Tomorrow Never Dies.
But GoldenEye was an instant fucking classic, and that might have also been due because of the fucking game and how the game played really into what the movie had and all that and so on.
Pierce Brosnan was supposed to be Bond back in the 80s, and he had a TV show called Remington Steele, and he wasn't allowed to get out of the TV show to play Bond.
Wow. They waited for him.
and
wow, yeah,
the TV show Remington Steele was it wasn't a Bond ripoff, but it kind of was. It was about an author who wrote a series of spy novels about this spy named Remington Steele, and then one day the spy actually shows up at her house. But one of the things was he was required to, in the show, wear tuxedos, and James Bond, the producers, the Broccolis, have very clear when they sign someone to be James Bond, it's in the contract that they're not allowed to wear a tuxedo in anything else they appear in during their time as Bond. So they can wear parts of a tuxedo as long as like their shirt's unbuttoned, the tie's off, things like that. But they cannot be in a full tuxedo while they're Bond. Fun side note, the Barbara Broccoli, the producer of the James Bond movies that's still around, the Broccoli family, because this is my brain, right? Broccoli family.
ADD as fuck, this podcast is.
The Broccoli family, the name Broccoli, they're not named after the food. The food's named after them. It's the family that invented broccoli. And then they did the James Bond movies. So,
damn, that is a fun fact.
Yes. But so he couldn't get out of his contract. He had to stay and continue to play Remington Steele. And then years later, after Timothy Dalton sucked it up for 3 movies. I think it was just 2. They were finally able to get.
Now, I will give Roger Moore. I mean, he's the 4th best James Bond. Marks would call him the 3rd best James Bond.
Well, yeah, because Daniel Craig wouldn't be on the Bond list.
Nope,
You can't
he's
pick
not.
Daniel Craig.
He's not.
Oh lordy!
I can't find the clip of the MMA fighter. I'll have to look it up later. I had it on my phone. I texted it to someone. Let me see if I can copy it.
Now, here's a really hot take. You ready? Doctor No's the best James Bond movie. It's so good.
It is good.
It's more of the suspense thriller, though. You don't get to see all the action. There's not nearly as much action in that one. I love that movie.
I've honestly only watched 90s Bond on, so
You haven't watched Dr. No? You haven't watched Sean Connery and
I've watched bits and pieces, but I haven't watched a full-fledged Sean Connery. Honestly, I was never necessarily big on Bond, but people do keep telling me Dr. No was more of like a thriller, more so than like an action.
a lot of suspense. Yeah, there wasn't nearly as much. There was action. Don't get me wrong. He's in Dr. No's base and gets out.
Right.
Like Dr. No's the first moron to try and set him up for death and walk away. Oh, you'll die slowly.
But no, duly noted. I will maybe check it out. Everything's Blu-rayed. Everything's all Blu-rayed up now too, so I won't feel like I hate watching old movies. But now it's all gonna be like fancy.
The quality will still be.
I did really like From Russia with Love.
Really? Isn't that a Roger Moore?
Nope, that's Sean Connery. It's his second movie. Yep.
Maybe I'm thinking Octopussy. That's Roger.
Yeah. I feel like you're always thinking of Octopussy.
Well, if I could get 8 at a time, I would.
Yeah. Goldfinger is most people's favorite. I can't really argue with it. I did like You Only Live Twice because it had the whole James Bond is dead, but he's not actually dead. We'll ignore On Her Majesty's Secret Service because that was fucking George Lazenby. And we don't like George Lazenby. Then Diamonds Are Forever was Connery back. Then we had the Roger Moore series.
There we go.
Live and Let Die, Man with the Golden Gun, Spy Who Loved Me, Moonraker. Moonraker might be
a good flick.
It might be my least favorite James Bond.
Really?
It tried to do a sci-fi and it took me out of it. So I don't know. But I didn't hate.
Tried to do a sci-fi. Ooh.
He gets launched into fucking space. Half of the thing is
it's like Leprechaun in space.
Like him out in a space station battling people. For Your Eyes Only was not bad. Octopussy wasn't bad, but then you had View to the Kill, Living Daylights, and License to Kill. That was 3.
License to Kill was
Timothy
also
Dalton.
very popular. No,
it sucked. It blew. It was Timothy Dalton. I take it back. I think The Living Daylights was my least favorite James Bond movie. Anyways, then you had GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, World Is Not Enough, and Die Another Day.
Every one of which was good.
Every single one of them was fire. Right. Fucking.
And people said, "Oh, he's not a tough guy enough." Shut up.
James Bond
was he's not a tough guy.
That's the thing.
Like he's a fucking spy. He's supposed to be sneaky and hide and stealthy and
exactly.
Part of the fact is he gets out of the bad situations after fucking letting people know that he's not sneaky, stealthy, and is a weakness.
And this is why most people now can deal with Fast and Furious movies because of all the fucking bullshit that we get in the Pierce Brosnan movies. Because a lot of the shit was just way over the fucking top. Like you really had to let go of your you really had to have a very vivid imagination for some of the shit that he did. But again, it's a Bond movie. It is what it is. But Sean
Bitch,
Connery
I
didn't do
just
that.
mentioned
Roger Moore didn't do that.
Moonraker. They went to fucking outer space. That was Roger Moore in 1979. You cannot start to blame fucking Fast and Furious on the Pierce Brosnan,
Pierce Brosnan movies, no. Okay.
James Bond. First of all, they had gadgets the entire fucking time. In From Russia with Love, he had a pin that injects poison. He had a briefcase that if you opened it a certain way, it put out a cloud of knockout gas. But if you opened it a different way, it opened up. It had a tracking thing in it.
He's
that
had
you could hide in people's
numerous
shoes.
businessman firearms,
Yes.
briefcases, pen guns, which actually exist. Those types of things. So illegal to own one though in the U.S. Yes, it's family heirloom. So I've got my cards out, and then we need to talk some NXT.
Ooh,
We
you
do.
want to talk a little bit about NXT? I will have to.
I think
listen for most of it because I know what happened. But again, so fun side effect. I told you I had to go out to Kearney to deal with stuff with my mom's house. One of the things that I had to deal with at my mom's house was the fact that my brother, who I love dearly, he's wonderful, he's great and everything. He's the executor of my mom's will. He's the person in charge of everything there. He also is the person who failed to pay my mom's internet bill for the last 3 months, which is also her television bill or cable bill. So I'm out in Kearney for 2 days with no fucking internet or TV.
You got a phone, bud.
Yeah, I had my phone, but I'm also in Kearney, where the internet blows on phones. Okay.
it's got a point there.
Wesley,
new champ.
Yeah. New Atlantic champion. Is it Atlantic? What is it? No, it's
No,
North
All
American.
American. No, North American champ. All Atlantic champ is AEW.
Electra Lopez. Electra Lopez.
Who's still in NXT.
Yep. Oh. JLB will say this card deserves better than to accidentally be held up backwards. Oh. Natalia.
Natalia. I love you because you're Canadian. And because your uncle is awesome.
No longer with WWE. Malcolm Livins.
Oh, it's Stokely Hathaway.
Stokely Hathaway. I don't know how they couldn't have done anything with him. He's such a fucking great actor.
Authority figure.
Mm-hmm.
Sonya Deville.
Mm-hmm.
Hey. How was her match?
What?
Oh no, that was on NXT, right? That was on Tuesday's episode. Okay. Sonya Deville was one of the Poison people. Yes.
No, she faced.
It was
Cora Jade.
It was Sonya. It was Sonya Deville for Cora Jade, and it was Rhea Ripley for the other person.
Yeah,
I forget her name.
James Drake.
That's one of the grizzled young veterans, I believe.
Yep. That's the one with hair.
Mm-hmm.
Roddy Strong.
That's my boy.
A duplicate card. Primate. Got one of those already. Another duplicate. Mandy Rose.
I got to be honest. That picture makes it look like she's picking Kaden Carter up by her boobs, though. That looks like a boobplex.
Yeah. Ooh. A legend in all of our minds. Eddie Guerrero.
Hey.
Mid 5-star frog splash.
Damn right.
Red, white, and blue. Watch out for your stink face.
Rikishi.
No longer with the same last name. One Io Shirai.
Actually, no longer with the same first name because they spell it different now.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, facts.
NXT UK, now NXT Miko Satomura. A fearless that I will happily send to somebody somewhere else. Ray.
Hey, who's that jumping out the sky?
Booyaka, booyaka. Now, this one I am very excited about. This is a green prismatic entrance by one of my favorite wrestlers.
Oh.
This one is big time.
Big time Bex.
Big time Bex.
That is a good one.
When's she coming back?
Very exciting.
I feel like I haven't seen her in a while. She's injured, right?
Yeah. Tore her shoulder out. Takes a while.
Takes a while.
Okay.
All right. You going to open another package?
It's my turn.
Yeah. Open a package. Here, I'll come off screen. Sheamus. Select card.
That's actually a good pack. Oh, no. Seth. Franklin Rollins.
Hold up.
Burn it down.
I feel like everybody needs to know that this shirt is available on our Raw and Order website.
Mm-hmm.
Seth Franklin Rollins. And you will be one of 4 people who owns one. My son, Smarks, myself, and Seth himself. It's Tommaso Ciampa. Sometimes.
And the chase card for this particular pack, I think I got a non-chase version of this. Dusty Rhodes.
Dusty, that's fun.
And now...
Yeah, you do have another Dusty one.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a chase card. I'll check to be certain. And that was pack 2, then opening pack 1 for Ambrosia to do 21. So already have this one. This is a duplicate. Mick Foley.
General Manager Mick Foley, to be specific.
Yeah. I already have this one, Jordan Devlin, who now has a different name, I think.
Who doesn't want to see him fight his mentor? Doesn't everybody want Finn Balor versus Jordan Devlin?
I'd do it.
I mean, isn't that why you do the game?
Fuck this pack. Okay, not for this card. This card is neat. This is a select
Mr. T.
Mr. T.
Hey.
And so I'm all about that, but fuck this pack.
Hall of Fame card. That's cool, bud. Who is that? Oh, that's your
Jerry the King Lawler.
Hate this card.
By the way, here the Vice's territories for episode 2 was about Lawler and Andy Kaufman. Great episode. I know you don't give a shit and you don't like Lawler. Still a great episode though. Although we obviously know everything there is to know about that from the fucking movie and Lawler's book and so on, but still a decent episode.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Special fun fact. What's his Andy Kaufman never cashed in any of his checks that he made from Memphis Wrestling, which I think was also in the book too, technically. But he never cashed any of his checks. The true heel before any of the heels we got in the past decade, and he wasn't even a wrestler.
I mean, he's still alive anyway, so, you know.
Well, no, he's as good as dead. But I'm just saying.
I'm talking about Andy Kaufman. Why would you do that to him? Why would you do that to him?
Let people know that he's still alive. Out him is still alive.
That's horrible.
Oh, you're out.
Well, a lot of people did think it was a hoax.
Every single year,
it's like Tupac.
There's something that happens where people are like, Andy Kaufman's still alive. So and so, said he's going to show up at this date or whatever.
When I see Elvis at Disney World, I will tell you guys. He'll be right there with Biggie, Tupac, and Andy Kaufman.
Elvis works at Disneyland.
He's not in California.
It's not in Florida.
Fine, I'll have to make a quick stop at Graceland where he lives.
Okay. So we'll talk NXT. Let me pull up the NXT because
what's next?
You wanted to.
Jesus.
So Halloween Havoc, which was yesterday, which again I did not get to watch, so I will be learning most of this stuff as we go. We'll click this link. So, to let people know, the card announced was Apollo Crews versus Grayson Waller in a spin the wheel, make the deal match. Julius Creed versus Damon Kemp in an ambulance match. If Julius loses, Brutus Creed will have to leave NXT. Carmelo Hayes versus Oro Mensa versus Wesley versus Von Wagner versus Nathan Fraser in a ladder match for the vacant NXT North American Championship. Cora Jade versus Roxanne Perez in a Weapons Wild match. Mandy Rose versus Alba Fire for the NXT Women's Championship. And JD McDonough, Io Dragunov, and versus Braun Breaker for a triple threat for the NXT Championship.
I really thought this is where Braun lost and either retook the title.
Except for fucking JD McDonough, which I believe is the new name for Jordan Devlin. If I'm correct.
Oh, that was Jordan. Familiar. Yeah, JD Jordan Devlin. Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why he looked familiar, and I was like, "Who the fuck is this? Why is he?"
They had him grow his hair out, and then I think I'll have to look it up, but I think Jordan Devlin is his real name, and so they're doing what WWE likes to do, which is you can't use your real name. You got to come up with a fake name.
What's your name?
Ezekiel.
Tony. Fuck you, Tony.
What's your name? Ezekiel.
But yeah,
Fuck you,
Jordan
Ezekiel.
Devlin, JD McDonough, though. I'm sure I must have seen him wrestle a few times. But fuck, this completely. I first I didn't care for him. I was only there for Dragunov and Breaker. But boy, JD stole the show. All three men were phenomenal. But JD McDonough was there, and if he would have won, I would have been all but down for it. Because, fuck, what a fire match from start to finish. I did not want it to end, but all good things must come to an end. That was fire. Jesus, did you kill it?
Drink up, boys.
Oh.
Cheers.
Okay.
It's water.
Hoverboards can't go over water unless you have power. Sorry. ADHD brain. So I do want to point out that I've said it before, I'll say it again. NXT is missing a fucking boat right now. They're having Chucky, the TV show that's on Sci-Fi, do sponsorships for Halloween Havoc and for things here. And they've got the son of Rick Steiner on their show. And they have yet to have Braun Breaker yell at a version of Chucky on a big screen. This needs to happen. Get into an argument with Chucky, Braun. It's your destiny.
Well, where's the joke here? Why
I believe Scott was the one who yelled at Chucky, though.
No, it was Rick Steiner.
Was it Rick?
It was Rick Steiner. Look up Rick Steiner, Chucky. Fuck, I'll even do it. I'm not afraid of copyright strikes. Fuck that.
Yeah, you were.
No.
I mean, all he has to do is edit it out
I'll
afterwards.
just edit it out on YouTube, and then I don't get a strike. Boom.
Oh, it's true because WCW did for a while do a bunch of.
It was a Halloween
Oh,
Havoc,
it was.
and they had Rick Steiner argue with Chucky. And why not? Just fucking do it. We need to. Anyways, the show started off with Carmelo Hayes versus Uro Mensah versus Wesley versus Von Wagner versus Nathan Frazier and ladder match for the vacant NXT North American Championship. And winner and new NXT North American Champion, Wesley.
Yeah, that was, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that was the opener on top of that, which was fantastic.
Why I said first match. Jeez.
Yeah. Obviously, I tend to block
epic
you out
amount of
sometimes.
smart
It's easier that
assery
way.
you have sometimes, man. Well, I said first match.
Then you had the spin the wheel, make the deal match, which ended up being a casket match: Apollo Crews versus Grayson Waller.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it's
Why that was even an option
though.
on that board.
I mean, yeah, I just figured maybe something
I'm
on
sure
NXT. I'm sure there was a reason why, but I don't watch NXT
sure
enough to know.
I'm sure it was a fine match, right?
Like, it was all right. It was all right.
But,
It was
I
just
mean,
weird
Grayson
seeing
Waller's
Apollo Crews in a
decent.
match like that.
Apollo Crews is good. But I think, to put words into D.A. Fabe's mouth, I think the problem is, like, there's no reason for it to have been a casket match. Aside from that they spun the wheel. But here's the deal. Like, we all know.
I mean, maybe that's lending legitimacy to the spin the wheel.
Maybe they certainly made it random, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like, people really think it's random now. Why a casket match?
But Apollo Crews won, which does seem a little weird, although the Wyatt 6 stands will use this as an argument that this is why we can tell that Garrett Grayson Waller is going to be one of the Wyatt 6s. It's because he's being written off of NXT. I don't know if he is being written off, but you know, whatever. We'll find out. Yeah, the Weapons Wild match, Cora Jade versus Roxanne Perez.
The build-up for that was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
How was the match? This is the match I missed, though.
None of us watched.
Yeah, none of us watched.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you had watched it today.
You were the only one who got to watch. Remember, I had no internet.
Right, yeah, you were screwed.
And I apologize. I thought you guys would both watch, and so this may be a better served for next Sunday thing.
Roxanne Perez won.
Yes.
Which
the face is supposed to win in that one. That's a payout.
Mm-hmm. There's a good place to end that feud and move on to new feud for both of them. You had the ambulance match, Julius Creed versus Damon Kemp next. Julius Creed won, which makes sense because that means the Creed brothers can stay together.
Right.
Whatever. Mandy Rose versus Alba Fire for the NXT Women's Championship.
So that whole thing was weird. They tried to do like a whole White House thing, like towards the beginning of the show. Then she had kidnapped Mandy Rose in the car. We see her that now they're gonna go to the ring, and and then so they had their match. But it just, it was all right, I guess. It's just nothing crazy. I don't know why they had to do that whole thing at the beginning with the House of Horrors or whatever, them trying to find Mandy and Toxic Attraction, trying to find, what's her face? Fire or something?
Alba Fire.
Alba Fire.
The former Kaylee Ray.
Oh, yes. Yeah, but it was all right. I don't know. I really honestly think it's time for Mandy Rose maybe to lose it. Rose, maybe to lose it.
Mandy
She's
Rhodes,
fantastic.
The Lost Rhodes.
How in the bloody fuck can you get those two wrong?
Mandy,
exactly opposite.
Yeah, I know. because you guys keep fucking me over with Cody Rhodes. So, but I said it right
fuck you
this
over.
time.
You're the one who said
Yeah.
Cody Rose. I don't feel like that can be made.
Mandy
our fault.
Rose retained.
Yep.
The problem is, I don't think it's time for Mandy Rose to lose because as of right now, NXT hasn't set anyone up to beat her. Right?
Right. I think she at this rate, I feel like she's almost like the Roman Reigns of NXT for champions. You know, so
With a faction.
And that causes a problem. The same problem that we're having with Roman is when you go for this long and you have them beat everyone.
Set somebody up to be able to beat them.
Yeah, now who can beat them? Well, I don't know. But and then
I feel like
finally,
Austin Theory needed to come out and tease.
Yeah.
Well,
he did tease
on Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
On Tuesday.
Yeah,
sorry,
on Tuesday. Yeah.
Tuesday.
Cashing in. And so they could have had him tease again. Especially since the last match, NXT Championship match, Braun Breaker, the champion, defending against JD Madonna and Ilya Dragunov. And I've seen clips of this, but I haven't seen the whole thing.
Well worth it to watch the whole match. Just nonstop, back and forth. All these three men were just freaking fantastic. And I seriously thought Ron Breaker was going to lose just because, honestly, this guy's ready for the main roster. He really is. This guy has
Chucky
everything going for him. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen now. I did watch the Rick Steiner Chucky thing while we were here. It's fucking hilarious.
You got to pull that up, bud?
I do. You like me to put it on?
No, Smirks was pulling it up.
I was going to pull it up, but then I could tell that he had it up. So, do you want me to pull it up? I'll pull it up.
Do you know how to put it
Pull
up?
it up. It's fucking hilarious. Yeah, I know how to pull it up.
Do you have access to putting it up?
Oh, that's valid. I should. Dun, 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 dun. Share screen, window, Chrome tab, Rick Starner. Boom. Do you guys see it?
Yep. Fill the tab. Yes. But
Yeah,
fill
we
it.
just have to share it.
Make it big screen. We're not seeing all your other stuff.
There we go. Well, you do it.
Oh, it's muted. My bad. My bad.
Let's go back to the beginning. Yeah, I feel like we could have done without sharing that with everybody. I don't remember it, but
Yeah, it was but that's my point.
That was
They just
very
need-
random.
we have gone from Steinbeck to
well,
James Bond movies to
we will talk WWE, but I'm going to open a couple more packs because fuck yeah.
Oh my god. It's like, hey, we have a wrestling podcast. Nope. We're talking about Steinbeck.
we have a wrestling podcast. I'm opening wrestling cards.
we went from Steinbeck to Steiner. Ha!
Yeah.
To now
Blood.
wrestling in AEW under his real name, Parker Boudreaux, Harland.
There you go.
Hey, Cuba.
Von Wagner.
I feel like almost that was also pre-recorded on top of that.
Oh, the
Yes,
Chucky
like
part was
completely.
100% pre-recorded, but the Rick Steiner
Oh
part
no, the
was
people
not.
in the ring for sure. Yeah. But I mean, it's just like,
No.
but it felt
But
like
that-
also
that's-
Rick Steiner was fucking up.
Yeah,
pre-recorded.
that's part of why it's so epic in my opinion. Is
Yeah.
it was such a botch. It was pre-recorded. All Rick Steiner had to do was stick to a script, and he couldn't fucking do that. You get something to say, come down here to the ring and say it.
You'd like
And
that,
this is
wouldn't
why
you?
Scott was more of the talker, which is horrible to say.
Nikki
By the-
ASH.
Ooh, rough pack, man.
Hey, rough pack.
Just in general.
It's an okay pack, but it's weird. They
Cheese
gave
Club?
me a card that doesn't have anything on it. So
What?
Oh my god. I can't see a thing.
I don't know. I think
It's
think
just
that was a
very
botch
glossy,
back.
and that's it. Botch back.
Yeah, big shiny botch back. I don't know. Okay.
They really gave you a big FU on that one.
So far, I believe I
Really?
already have a Shelton Benjamin.
Ain't no stopping me. Nah.
I am certain I have a Bruno Sammartino.
Oh, beautiful.
I feel like you do, yeah.
Not your chase card, though.
I am relatively certain I already have this Becky Lynch, but it's still nice.
Big
All
time
of
nice.
those would be wonderful chase cards. Wonderful sets of the
Yep. Unfortunately,
orange, silver.
none of those were chase cards. I did get the chase card Blair Davenport.
Hey, that's not a bad one.
Not a bad one. And I have the regular Blair Davenport, I believe. So getting the chase version of it's nice.
Blair Davenport is where?
NXT. She formerly
B. Priestley.
B. Priestley.
Okay.
In the Indies.
They really got to stop with these.
Well,
okay, that was they were.
She was on the
B.
Indies,
Priestley
and she was
Indies.
shortly in
Okay.
AEW as B. Priestley. B.
Fair.
Priestley also Will Ospreay's girlfriend. So changing her
saying
name.
there's a chance.
There's no chance.
There's no chance.
Have you
No chance
seen
we're
Will
gonna-
Ospreay?
You're saying there's no chance we'd get Will Ospreay to WWE?
I'm
That's what
saying
I'm
it's
saying.
very, very unlikely. Yes.
I don't think I have any chance with B. Priestley.
I thought that's what you were implying.
No. I had my heart broken today when I realized that one of the inspirations, I can't remember her name now. See, and that's why she won't be with me, because I can't ever remember her name. Has a boyfriend now. Billy Kay has a
Kara
boyfriend
Lee,
now.
Billy Kay. Yeah.
Billy Kay has a boyfriend now.
Sorry, bud. Well, she needs to get that green card somehow. Oh no, but she's contracted to Impact anyways.
Yeah, she doesn't need the sponsor.
Nope.
Are they still
Tegan
contracted?
needs the sponsor.
They left Impact.
Tegan needs the sponsor.
What's up, Teagues? Hit me up, yo.
Hit
DA
me up,
Vincent
yeah,
K. Babe. DA Vincent K. Babe out on Twitter. It's only well documented that I would do that for your citizenship.
In April, the Iconics left in Impact Wrestling, so they're not contracted to Impact anymore.
Oh,
mostly
okay.
because Cassie has a baby on the way.
Baby on the way.
Sean better take care of my kid.
He's gonna raise it like it was his own.
That's probably pretty likely.
I know they said they wanted to step away from in-ring action because they wanted to focus on other projects like modeling. And I suspect that that's really what they're doing.
What they're going to start doing now. Yeah. Because after they left WWE, they really went heavy into the modeling and whatever, and then
they did a lot
got
that.
Impact.
A lot of skit comedy. They did a ton of skit comedy. I feel like they could do their own skit comedy show.
Well, I know prior to her pregnancy, Cassie Lee was doing a lot of auditions for movies and TV shows, so I think that also plays
very possible.
Anyways, so WWE Raw kicked off with Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley fighting.
What?
Just
yep.
And
now we're gonna get
that's at least better than a 20-minute long talk promo. So
that's true. Yeah.
But
we don't have a story to this. It's just Brock attacks him.
Yeah, we do.
For no reason. No, we don't.
No. It wasn't no reason because one of the names Bobby said that he'd already beat and he didn't have to go after anymore was Brock.
Mm-hmm. And let's take a step back and also point out that people have wanted to see Brock versus Bobby Lashley for a long time because of their MMA careers.
We already have, though, one-on-one.
Not in a real program. It was
Not
just like a
one-on-one.
throw-off match, you know?
It was a throw-off match. That's fair.
And this is a program based on them both being big meaty men slapping meat. So, you had Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson versus Alpha Academy. I don't know. Gallows and Anderson won.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
So, quick little thing about Gallows and Anderson, though. The president of New Japan has mentioned that Anderson should still do his. He still should be coming for November 5th, as that's what was promoted, right? So we saw Anderson or Gallows and Anderson do the whole 5-minute video saying they won't be defending. He won't be defending the belt. Yet other engagements, but the president of New Japan isn't backing down. And he's saying he should show up.
I just feel like that's a work.
It very easily could be. Well, here's the deal.
I mean, New Japan's more likely to do work than Old Japan.
Yeah. Well, and here's the deal. This whole thing could have been set up. New Japan got word that Gallows and Anderson were going to be signing with WWE.
Right.
They said, how do we get this belt off of you? Well, you have me wrestle a match. Well, we can't find a time that works because you're now in WWE. So what we do, we promote a match. You say, I'm not going to come to it because I've got other commitments. We say, you have to come. You don't come. We strip you of the title. Right? That gets the title off of him. And allows them to go back.
That just leaves a bad taste. Like, I don't like it when people.
Does it leave a sour boy taste?
I'm thinking it's more for a Forbidden Door scenario, though. Maybe
I don't.
Not necessarily just
a huge WWE move.
No, I doubt it. Especially since New Japan
has an open Forbidden Door with. AEW. Like, you want to talk really forbidden? Go ahead and do that, New Japan.
Yeah, that'll close that Forbidden Door again.
And maybe the better one to have is WWE. But if you think they're going to be keen on
as friendly towards your wrestlers looking good, you're mistaken. You know. Dakota Kai and Io Sky took on Bianca Belair and Candice LeRae. So yeah, I guess Candice's face.
Right.
Which is fine. I don't think she can be called the Poison Pixie, though. As a face.
Yeah. It's tough. But, Io Sky and Dakota Kai won. Ali had challenged Rollins earlier, so Ali's going to be the next, I think, push for it.
I liked his getup, though. He actually looked, like they're actually trying to do something with him this time. A little shiny and whatever. And so I'm glad. I'm glad he's at least getting a push of some sort. Yeah. So
he had a push before, and they fucked him off.
Yeah. Next we had JBL come out to introduce the wrestling god.
New wrestling god, Baron Corbin.
In MC Hammer pants.
Yeah, JBL wearing pants that were 3 sizes too big.
Yep.
And Baron Corbin in new weird ring gear.
And his music sucked too.
He still came out wearing the stupid hat thingy, fedora. But he didn't have the rest of his Vegas high roller gear.
Right.
He just had kind of a singlet sort of a thing. I think it was 2-piece, but it was like shorts and a tight top. It didn't look great, to be perfectly honest.
No, but he's still a great wrestler, though. I enjoyed what he did in the ring there.
I think they
obviously it was supposed to be a squash.
I think they missed their chance to have him have gold, though. I fear.
Yeah.
I think this isn't helping him. I think this is hurting him.
Yeah.
unless
like
they pull
making
it
him
away where. Sorry, go ahead.
I think that making him a second fiddle to JBL, or a project of JBL, diminishes him, in my opinion. Because nobody likes JBL anyways.
Well, not now anymore. You know what I mean? If this was, I don't know when JBL stopped wrestling, but let's say if this was like a year after he stopped wrestling, maybe it'd be a little different. But the fact that this guy hasn't wrestled in God knows how long, it's not like a full-fledged legend. He's a wrestling god, but he's just not intimidating anymore. You know what I mean? So, like, we've seen this wrestling god be on the pay-per-view pre-show for like the last 5 years. So
That's my point is. But even more than that, I think JBL does not help Baron Corbin.
I think
JBL
Corbin being on Raw might help, though.
might.
Change of atmosphere, different opponents, see what happens.
Again, I want to remind everybody that he is the last one to hold a win over Roman, a clean win over Roman. So,
So
that is true. Maybe they're working towards something with that too.
So
I don't think they are. I think that's where they're fucking up with this.
Yeah, that's the deal. Is they could be capitalizing on that. They could have
even if it's just to build a feud and make him a viable competitor for the title. You don't have to have him win for him to be a viable competitor for the title. You can have him lose via the help of the bloodline.
You had AJ Styles versus Dominic Mysterio. Yay. Miz was supposed to have a match versus Dexter Lumis, but he took him out with a brutal chair attack on the thing, so no match. That was running thing through the night, was Miz pretending to have injuries so that he didn't have to have his match. And then you had the return of Elias. Highlight of the night.
Especially when they made a bong joke when Riddle came out with his bongo drums.
Yeah, that was the low part of this, but in fact that was probably my only problem with this is I really wish they would have just let Elias do Elias, instead of having to bring Riddle out in the middle of it.
Zeke's dead.
Yeah. In fact, Bleacher Report specifically said Riddle coming out stalled any momentum Elias had when this began.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Zeke, I miss you.
But I think they kind of did that because I think it's going to build a fatal four-way for the U.S. Championship, right? So Elias kind of got involved to kind of help Riddle, but then he got pushed out, and then Ali came back in. So I think it's going to be a fatal four-way at Crown Jewel for the U.S. Championship. So that's how you kind of get Elias in the picture, perhaps.
But what you need to do is have Elias go after Kevin Owens, because Kevin Owens is the one who injured his brother.
Yeah, but Kevin Owens ain't going to Saudi Arabia, right? So they'll probably do something with that afterwards.
Well, Elias isn't going to be a huge sell at Saudi Arabia, right?
If Elias is facing Ali and Seth Rollins and Riddle, he will be.
No, it would literally, in that situation, Elias doesn't move the needle at all, right? The only people who move the needle in that is Riddle versus Seth Rollins, right? We like Ali. Saudi Arabia doesn't know who Ali is for the most part, right? He's just a Middle Eastern guy, and so, we'll cheer him.
Well, I mean,
but Elias,
that's why they're going to bring him over there.
Exactly. But Elias literally has none of that. They don't even know who he is, especially since he hasn't been on WWE TV in a year.
But Saudi Arabia has been watching WWE for at least 5 with their whole deal. So
I don't think anyone in Saudi Arabia regularly watches WWE. Remember, these are the people who asked if they could have certain dead wrestlers show up.
We'd like to have Yokozuna at this one.
Can we have Yokozuna? Can we have Roddy Piper? Can we have Ultimate Warrior? No,
That's
on all
true.
3 of those.
But why? We'll pay. Okay, that's fine, but I can't bring back the dead, bud.
Yeah.
You are Vince McMahon. I thought you had strength and power. God, that was racist. I'm sorry.
Especially since that sounded like a Russian on top of that.
My bad accent was really racist. I apologize for
God,
that.
all
folks.
kinds. It was like Putin visiting fucking Saudi Arabia, trying to talk Saudi Arabian, Arabic.
There you go. Thank you.
Saudi Arabian.
Saudi Arabian. I corrected myself. Calm your tits. Calm your man boobs. Calm your moobs.
They're calm.
There we go. Perfect.
SmackDown. Solo Sikoa beat up on Sheamus. More bloodline stuff.
Oh,
Bray Wyatt gave his promo, where he addressed that he's going to do bad things.
Bad things. Bad things.
Going to do bad things, and you're just going to have to forgive me for that. I confess that I have problems. I know I have problems. I've always had problems. It's not hard for people to see. Along the way, I will do horrible, horrible things, but I will not be sorry for them. I'm just a servant now. I go where the circle takes me. So, I thought it was a great promo.
Aside from the music.
Aside from the music, but you know, music doesn't make the promo. Liv Morgan versus Sonya Deville.
Hey, what are they doing with this whole Liv Morgan going crazy hardcore style? Like, I don't believe her still. And what the fuck's the point? Is this going to turn her heel? What's going to go on here?
I don't think it's a heel or face thing. I think they found you can have crazy people, and they can be both popular and not fit into a direct mold.
And you're doing this with Liv.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I like it. I mean, you remember how Liv debuted on the main roster as part of a group that caused mayhem and
and Sarah Logan is coming back. Do you think there's something there?
Reportedly coming back.
No, because Ruby Riott won't be there, so there's no reason to make something there.
Yeah, they're not going to put them together. Sarah Logan's going to be with the Viking Raiders.
This is the Riot Squad
without the Riot. It's just
Ruby
the squad.
Riott. It's the squad. It's the Suicide Squad.
But Braun Strowman faced off with Omos. So we're going to have the really big men, meaty men slapping meat. We had a tag team championship, a women's tag championship match. So Damage Control defending against Raquel Rodriguez and Shotzi Blackheart.
Who's now again on NXT.
Well, she was just the host.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's fair.
Because she's hosted the Halloween Havoc shows.
All the time. Okay. That's
She's
fine.
really big into Halloween, so this is where you just let her do her thing.
That's fair.
And then Rey Mysterio versus Ludwig Kaiser. So now Rey's back on SmackDown. So, you know.
When is he supposed to face? What's his face? Gunther.
Probably at Crown Jewel.
Crown Jewel?
If I were a bet.
Okay. So I'm guessing Ray won that one, and Ludwig got slapped a bunch of times by Gunther because he failed him. Are you sleeping? What's going on here?
Well, what?
No, not you, Mr. Smarks.
Now you said something, so he's going to play into it.
He's going to play into it. I know, but it was for a hot minute. This fucking podcast went really off the rails.
Like he froze his screen on
welcome
purpose.
to.
I
think he's just inputting his acting role here. Like that's what it is.
Yeah, he's just playing along.
I can notice him. Move. This is ridiculous. Can we finish it? Oh no! Did you kick him out?
I thought I saw him move, but he didn't.
No,
His
computer
scooter
crashed.
Oh wow! We're rogue as fuck now, folks.
Assholes. Oh yeah, this is it. This is the after hours before the after. Oh man. So, I mean, nothing else really necessarily crazy happened on SmackDown aside from, of course,
an overly
the
great
Bloodline.
week for either side. Any real shows or anything. But
well,
I don't know.
I mean, the real big news, I guess, out of the week was obviously Ace Steel getting fired. And
As he should have
essentially,
been.
as he should have been. You know, if you're gonna bite people, you know, at a workplace, you're gonna get fired.
I'm back.
Hey,
that was the weirdest thing.
We thought you were moving.
Yeah, we thought.
I thought I saw you move.
You were
really
just
did.
see what happens when you're an asshole sometimes, and you just.
We thought you were working us.
We thought you were working.
It was the fucking weirdest thing. All of a sudden, like, because I have two monitors. All of a sudden, one of the monitors just started going all digity. You know, like the digital, like when you've got a satellite dish and the weather's bad.
Pixelated.
Right? No, not pixelated. I use the phrase digity, where like purple boxes show up and green boxes and stuff. It's weird. Anyway, it's not pixelated. It's just weird. Anyway,
so there's a glitch in the Matrix, is what you're telling us.
Yes, apparently there is a glitch in this here Matrix. And then my computer just went off, just gone. Like fuck, it just totally restarted. So, fortunately, I was able to make it back. Okay, what I miss. We
were just saying that was pretty much it for SmackDown, and we were kind of talking about the Ace Steel getting fired was probably one of the bigger news of the week.
Yeah, the only other thing that happened was Logan Paul came out and talked a bunch about how he's gonna lose to Roman. I mean, he didn't say he was gonna lose to Roman Reigns, but yeah, he's gonna lose to Roman Reigns.
Right, definitely gonna happen.
Oh my gosh! Please, don't work us in that direction. Don't give us a. What the hell is?
Was it Rhonda who said that they should make Logan Paul win? Someone had mentioned that this week, that Logan Paul should actually win to kind of change things up. Oh no, I think it might have been like Nia Jax or something. I don't know. It was someone. Someone had mentioned that, and I was just like, no, you can't Vince Russo this.
Well, I mean, that's happened before with a lesser athlete. And David
Arquette. Yeah.
Arquette. So I suppose I understand it. I just don't like that idea. Because of the David Arquette situation.
Well, and I think David Arquette beating whoever the fuck he beat, I forgot who he beat. I don't think they had the title for, 2 years. So it does change things a little. But yeah, Roman's winning. I don't even know why we're talking about something that's not going to happen. You gonna open your pack now? Is that what's happening?
Before I start talking to AEW, yeah, I was gonna open my last 2 packs. Starting off with Meiko Satomura. I had a really good one of hers. There was a chase card, but she's
She was in UK.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But she's from New Japan originally, so listen here, brother.
You know, my Hulkamaniacs, brother.
You know something, Mean Gene? That's a great card.
Mean
ball.
Gene.
Rob Van Dam.
That is one Van Dam good card right there, bud.
And then my chase card for that pack is a hollow Charlotte Flair.
Woo! Where Raw is going to be tomorrow in Charlotte, North Carolina.
I still don't know this when she comes back. I'm sure she's having another plastic surgery done.
Oh, my God.
Inappropriate, yes, but True,
On the
probably.
last pack, we have Adolphe Ziggs.
Oh!
Okay. We have a Cedric Alexander.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Not Duffy Ziggs.
No Dolphy
Yeah.
Ziggs, though.
We have Rick
Boogs!
Boogs.
And I'm here to announce your Intercontinental.
Man, it almost feels like since Boogs left, I feel like we've only seen Shinsuke Nakamura like maybe 5 times.
Well, we saw him on NXT this week,
Yeah.
but it wasn't to set up a title match or anything.
No,
No.
It was there to try to pop the ratings so they beat AEW, which they
failed.
did not. So,
Right.
Well, I
and
mean,
then
you have to announce that shit.
the chase card,
Well, you kind of have to. It's kind of
very fitting, and Ilya Dragunov.
Hey. Boy, I would kill to have Ian Dragunov versus Daniel Bryan. Like, gimme. This will never happen now.
Ela Dragunov.
Yeah,
Ela. What did I say?
Elin.
Elin Dragunov. Ela.
Like he's a.
You know who I wouldn't kill to see anymore? CM Punk, because apparently AEW is buying out his contract. And boy, I hope those rumors are true.
I don't know. Here's the deal. Like, I've said this before.
I just don't know how you get him under control.
Yeah, I like Punk. I think he's a phenomenal wrestler. And if Punk could just swallow his fucking pride, and
he can't.
He can't. And that's the problem. And that's where the problem is. I would prefer an AEW with Punk. But I prefer an AEW with less drama. And right now, Punk's bringing the drama.
I mean, look, he's a great promo. He's great in the ring. Wrestling in AEW is fine, but all that drama, like you were mentioning, is just no. AEW doesn't need Punk to succeed. It would help, but I feel like CM Punk needs.
I was actually
AEW
thinking about this the other day. Have you noticed that almost all the drama, all of the problems that AEW has been having recently
disappeared when Punk was gone?
Well, I mean, not all of them.
You have
but,
the Eddie Kingston, Andrade.
Yeah, but almost all of them.
Sammy.
without the Eddie Kingston specifically, but almost all of them deal with former WWE people. Okay? So you remember when AEW first started, and one of the criticisms that they had was that it was the All Friends League, that it was just Young Bucks and their friends. And that, it was just them. They didn't have any big stars because it was just them, none of their friends. None of their big stars. Just them. And then they started bringing in WWE guys, and that's when we started hearing about these culture problems, these fights backstage, these all of these things. Now, yes, Eddie Kingston is his own problem. Eddie Kingston works himself more than anyone else does. You know what I mean? But like, CM Punk, former WWE guy, causing problems. Andrade.
Notice they're also the people that aren't still at WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So there might have been a reason WWE let them go.
Yes. Andrade causing problems. And yeah, I get it. Like, I've said it before. There's very few people in AEW that have quite as punchable of a face as Sammy Guevara, right? But we've talked about the complaints. But in the end, I think it's really quite simple. If you're in a workplace of any sort, and you have a coworker that comes and says, "Hey, man, you kind of hurt me with the way you did your job." The defense is not, "Listen, other people didn't have a problem with the way I do this." The thing is to say, "Oh, man, I'm sorry. I'll work on it." Right?
Right.
And so the fact that, I mean, we can talk about back and forth about whether WWE is or AEW is soft or Sammy Guevara is soft and all this stuff. And you can have your opinions on that, but in the end, he had a complaint. He's like, "Listen, I was wrestling in the ring, and he hit me harder than he needed to." And Andrade took such offense to it that he called him out on a podcast by name, and then attacked him backstage. Right? And that's problem child behavior. You know what I mean?
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, maybe there's a reason these people aren't with WWE anymore.
Maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, it's just something I recently kind of sat and thought about. Almost all of the problems that we've been hearing about backstage have dealt with former WWE people. Even a year and a half ago, when we heard about the trouble between Thunder Rosa and Ivelisse, right? Ivelisse has WWE ties, so I mean, maybe this is a sign that the culture that WWE has bred over the years is leads to toxic behavior from people down the road. I don't know. It was just.
I think that's a far stretch, though, because even Billy Gunn has mentioned that WWE tends to be a bit more structured. So by Billy Gunn mentioning that, it sounds more like it's
structured is not the same as culture. I want to point out, I'm talking about culture. You can have structure and still have bad culture, right? D.A. Fabe and I have worked at places that have had great structure,
exceptional structure,
but bad culture, right? Because culture is about how employees treat each other. Structure is about how the company treats you, right? Or how the company sets you up to do your job.
Right.
Now, the structure could have been so regimented at WWE that there was no chance for the culture to rear its head, so to say.
But, the fact that these people apparently think that both in CM Punk's case and in Andrade's case, that it's an acceptable solution to a personal problem between two people to start throwing hands.
Altercation, yes.
Versus talking it out, sitting down, discussing the problem.
Maybe a sign that there, and for all three of those people that we've mentioned, they all were very early into the wrestling atmosphere where, Andrade obviously in Mexico had quite the push early in his life where, in that environment, perhaps that is how he handled those things. Sammy Guevara, obviously, very early in his career, very young. CM Punk has never really had to play by the rules in a major promotion.
Right.
And when he did,
he would always just leave.
Yeah, when he did, he threw a hissy fit.
Yeah.
Right.
So that is just a thought that I had. And so maybe AEW would be better off going back to the All Friends League. Going back to the time where you recruit people who you already know from their time on the indies get along.
But I mean, that's also not fair too. Look at Moxley. Look at Miro. We don't hear anything about them. Look at Regal.
You did hear some stuff with Miro at one point.
Yeah, we heard Miro bitching back and forth all about how he's not being used properly, how he wants to leave, how he didn't like having to do the job to Sammy Guevara. We heard all sorts of stuff like that. Moxley, with any hypothesis, there's going to be exceptions to the rule, and Moxley might very well be the exception. However, also to counterpoint, Moxley was brought in and made to look like a star from day one. right?
Right.
Whereas these other people all felt like they had to start from the bottom, sort of a thing.
Right.
Also, reports have it that a lot of the frustrations backstage with CM Punk have to do with, reportedly, he had a $3 million contract.
A year,
And that
$3
$3
how
million
many years?
a year.
3 years?
A year.
$3 million
Per
a
year.
year.
Yes, reportedly. And that the other wrestlers felt like not only was that an insult to them, but that it was taking work away from them. Because now, with someone who's getting $3 million a year, instead of letting other people wrestle, you highlight the $3 million a year guy.
Right.
Like I said, I don't think he's bad for business in terms of,
Yeah, he can still go in the ring. I mean, he's definitely older. He definitely doesn't, and rustier. He doesn't move quite as smoothly as he did at one point. But he still
may
had
actually be worth $3 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
That said, you got to be there and you got to be able to play with other people to be worth $3 million a year.
Well, and here's the deal. Let's use this phrase. His in-ring performance and mic work might be worth $3 million a year. The publicity he brought to the company might be worth $3 million a year. But the hostility he brought backstage and the venom and the degradation that has happened backstage is not worth $3 million a year, right?
Right.
And that's where CM Punk has to find that balance. And like you said, I don't anticipate him doing it. I anticipate that, yes, they're working on buying out his contract because he basically said, I'm not going to work with those guys.
Right.
It was unprofessional.
Yep.
Young bloods, young bucks.
Make sure this is the right... August 18th.
Is it the right stuff, baby?
AEW Dynamite. Best friends challenging Death Triangle for the Trios Championship.
Great match.
It was a great match. I loved this match. I really thought that they were about to make Orange Cassidy a champ.
A double champ, yeah.
But they had the whole thing, and they are teasing. Yeah, they are teasing problems between Death Triangle because Pac wanted to cheat again, and the rest of the members stopped him.
Yeah.
Oh, and would I pay for a Penta Pac match? Yeah.
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 So, Hikaru Shida versus Toni Storm for the interim AEW Women's Championship.
What's her name?
What's her name? I can see what I can see what she's wearing.
What she wore.
I can tell you exactly what she was wearing.
Yeah. It was a good match. Toni Storm won. Post-match, of course, had Jamie Hayter and Rebel attack, and then Britt Baker came out, and then Saraya came out, and
throwing some punches.
Yep, throwing punches, and then little tiny Riho showed up and jumped around on people.
Riho. Yeah, Mom is like, what's a 13-year-old doing in the ring? I'm like, she's not 13 years old, Mom.
Yeah. She just has the physique.
Are you
of a
sure?
13-year-old.
Pretty positive.
But
what's that 13-pounder doing in the ring?
That's probably relatively accurate. But so they made a big deal about Riho back. I don't know. Riho had her time. I wish they'd focus on some of the other people, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Jay Lethal and Darby Allin faced off. There's a no contact clause, so they can't fight.
But they did anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, so eventually we'll have another
garage door scene was so stupid. You can tell that you stopped it Like you're not. Like it just looks so fake already. And I was like, okay, guys, just stop. Just let's end this now.
Then you had promo of the year part 2.
MJF
Three?
Regal, baby. Yeah.
MJF Regal. Yeah, I like. Can we put this above MJF's "You Need to Fire Me" pipe bomb? I kind of feel like it might be better than that one.
Yeah, they're close together. That's for sure. They're definitely in the same realm.
This one here, I like
pussy
better.
who wouldn't fucking punch him. Excuse my language. I apologize.
Punch
Regal from behind.
That's part of why I liked this one better. First of all, it shows how good these people are at working the crowd, because MJF did his whole thing and got the crowd on his side cheering him. And William Regal then took the mic and started talking, and he was getting booed at first, and by the time he was done talking, the crowd was on his side again. So these people worked the crowd so well. And then, yes, William Regal gave open shot, hit me, just do it. And MJF just couldn't do it.
No, he's really going on that realm between heel and face, right? So, and I like it, and I think he's always just gonna kind of stay neutral. He won't be ever.
Really I don't think that's neutral at all.
Or a true face. Well, I mean, but he also just constantly and still insults everybody too. He's almost like Austin, kind of thing. People love him.
Energy. Like, man,
what was heel energy? That he didn't hit Regal?
Yes. I think it was the little bit of chicken shit heel stuff.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to punch him.
Mm-hmm. I'll only attack when I know that everything's on my side. When I've either
I took it as I won't attack him because I won't attack you because I respect you.
Oh, no. There was fear on his face. There was fear.
It was the repercussions for this action are not worth punching.
Mm-hmm. He put the ring on. But he knew that this guy was not going to go out with one punch.
No, he knew he was right.
Also,
he knew he was right.
There are people who would attack him from behind, who would attack him and lynch him because he's the leader of the most powerful faction in AEW.
Mm-hmm. And so the only way MJF is going to take that free punch is if he knows he also has backup there to protect him. Or
if he knows for a fact that everybody's going to see it as clean. As soon as Regal turns around, it's not clean. Mm-hmm. He punches Regal in the face with that ring. That's a clean punch. Moxley and Brian and Danielson both go, I mean, you punched our mentor. We don't really like that, but, you did it clean at least.
Mm-hmm. But again, like I said, he didn't have backup. MJF's whole thing is, I'm only going to take my shot when I know
I'm clean. I'm safe.
Okay,
then why did he say Full Gear and he wants Moxley at 100%? That's face shit. He's like, I want you at 100%. I won't take advantage of you now while you're bleeding and da-da-da-da. I want you at 110%. So Full Gear,
first of all, so I have theories on this that are go deeper, but go outside of the ring a bit. I don't think MJF was going to be challenging Moxley originally. I think Hangman was going to win.
I don't think so.
I think he was, and here's watch closely. They
wouldn't
rewatch
have had him come out.
They would have to challenge Hangman, but now Hangman just beat Moxley, and so again, MJF is only going to attack when he feels like he's got the advantage. And he's not going to feel like he has the advantage on someone who just beat the baddest motherfucker in the league, right?
Right.
So there's that. But so two things. A, him saying, I want you at Full Gear and I want you at full strength and I'm not going to attack you now, is not the same as actually not attacking him. We've got weeks before full gear. And I am willing to put hard money, that during these weeks, attacks on Moxley happen. That eventually it comes out were based on MJF's orders. MJF setting them up. But B, watch closely if you rewatch this thing. When Excalibur's trying to fill for time, he's totally unscripted at this point. He's just throwing names out, and he's at one point he says, "Well, I think we're gonna have to go down to the ring. World champion John Moxley has something to say." He starts to just the beginning of the word Hangman starts to come out of his mouth, and so that I admit that's a small piece of evidence. But the more I've watched it, the more I've watched the setup of that match and everything, the more I think it was set up to be an underdog come from behind Hangman Page victory to set up MJF versus Hangman Page for Full Gear. Reminder, Full Gear is a pay-per-view named after Hangman Page.
Why is it named after Hangman Page?
The whole joke on BTE during their first year of business was that Hangman Page had gotten a little out of shape in his time away from New Japan, and that he wasn't ready to wrestle in Full Gear, that he had too much pudge to wear Full Gear, and so he had to stop eating as much and start working out more, and that was the joke. That's where the name came from, is that you're not ready for Full Gear. And then, what pay-per-view did Hangman Page win the world title at?
Full Gear.
Full Gear. Full Gear is Hangman
Good
Page's
guess,
title.
bud. I'm proud of you for your guessing ability.
Full Gear is Hangman Page's pay-per-view. And setting it up with Hangman Page as the champion, I think, was what they were planning on doing. It's not what they're going to do now. 100%. Even if that was what they were planning on doing, that ship has sailed now. Now they have to do something else. And
I do agree with MJF possibly interfering, because why else would you show the box of him not being there inside the skybox there? He wasn't there. That was 5 minutes well before the match had abruptly ended. So I do think there was an interference going to be happening. I still think the story that was going to be told was Mox and MJF, though.
I think the story was going to be Hangman Page, and it could have been Hangman Page winning by MJF interfering. MJF attacks Moxley outside, because in the end, there's the other side of it. MJF probably feels like he could beat Hangman Page easier than he can beat Mox, right? So remember when we did fantasy booking MJF cashing in months ago? One of the things that I had was, him setting it up to beat the guy that he knows he could beat. I think that's what the plan was. The plans all went to shit when Hangman Page went out, but that's what I felt was the plan.
Do we have enough time before Full Gear for Hangman to go through the concussion protocols, do you think?
Well,
we do.
Yes and no. Concussion protocol is something you can clear in a week.
Yeah.
If things go right. If things go poorly, it can take you months to or even longer. I will use a reference to a sport that JLB probably knows a lot better than I do. Sidney Crosby. went out for a whole year, missed a whole year for concussion protocol, right? But because of that, he's still playing today, right?
That's it.
If he'd have rushed back from that, there's a good chance his career would be over by now, right? But he went through the whole protocol, sat out a whole year, let his brain heal as best it can, and then he was able to come back and play. I think with Hangman Page and with
he's
Adam
still
Cole,
not technically the same hockey player as he was.
yeah,
Like you could tell there's differences, of course, and so on. Same thing with like Eric Lindros. He didn't know when to stop either, kind of thing. So yeah, hockey's a heck of a. I feel like hockey, you almost get more bumps than in wrestling because it's much harder.
you don't get more bumps, but anytime you start armoring people up, they're gonna hit harder, right?
That's it.
It's why, even though in some ways they're very similar sports, rugby and American football, the hits in American football are so much more violent and so much more dangerous. Because here's the deal, right?
Americans like violence.
It's not about it. I mean, yes, Americans love violence, and that, but no, it comes down to simply this, right? You hit someone with a helmet on your head, you can hit a lot harder than when you don't have.
Yeah, you have to be a little self-conscious.
Yeah, when you have no helmet on your head, right? You hit someone head first with no helmet. You don't ever do that again, right? You do that one time, and you're like, I'm never doing that again.
Right.
But it's, as long as you're armoring these people up, well, hockey, not quite to the degree that American football does it, but they are padded up and helmeted up, right?
Right.
Which means they deliver some pretty violent hits. And
they also get a considerably higher amount of speed on the ice.
Yep. And they do occasionally just flat out punch each other.
Yeah.
And
without helmets sometimes. Sometimes the helmet comes off and
those things not particularly good for the old noggin.
Right.
So anyways, but a great promo, MJF versus Regal, getting back to that. Wheeler Yuta and American Dragon Bryan Danielson had an interview backstage.
Very mad at Daniel
Garcia is angry. It's like, we all saw that he was going to turn on you. Daniel Garcia was going to turn on you. We all saw Daniel Garcia, and you didn't do it. I'm going to storm off. So, I guess they're teasing dissension in BCC.
Yeah, but it's almost weird. It's almost like at first when I first saw this, I was thinking that Yuta. I'm like, okay, ROH. We're gonna announce something soon. Yuta's gonna go to do the ROH thing and stay there. But then I'm like, wait a minute, no. He brought everyone up, was agreeing with him. So are they gonna end up kicking Daniel Bryan out? I thought it was more Yuta was just gonna like leave, or they were gonna kick Yuta out because he wasn't playing ball, or him disrespecting Daniel Bryan like that. But Yuta made it seem like, no, everyone agreed with me kind of thing. You shouldn't do anything anymore with Daniel Garcia. He's only short-sighting you, and you're believing everything he says. You got to stop. You're making us look bad kind of thing. So I just generally thought he was just Yuta, ROH.
Well, I mean, in fairness, well, we're going to take a little bit of a chance to fantasy book here. If you're Tony Khan and you're trying to book for a new Ring of Honor show, and you have the current Ring of Honor champion is
the Ocho, Chris Jericho.
The Ocho, Chris Jericho. And you have a chance.
What is with the Ocho? Like, that didn't even make sense.
8.
He's had 8 total world championships.
Makes sense now. Thanks. That's all I needed.
What can I say? You're welcome.
You have Chris Jericho as your your Ring of Honor world champion who's representing sports entertainment, you have a chance to book someone to be the savior of Ring of Honor, right?
It does sound lovely that it would be Daniel Bryan, though.
Bryan Danielson's the one you do it with.
Yeah.
Right? Wheeler Yuta's great. Wheeler Yuta sets up the next generation.
But he's not the big name.
But he's not Bryan fucking Danielson.
Facts.
And that's, I think, what it comes down to. Yes. You had your Ring of Honor World Championship match. Speaking of the devil, Chris Jericho defending versus Dalton Castle.
Dalton Castle.
I love me some Dalton Castle.
Me too. He has the weirdest body shape in the world. I'm not totally a fan of his gimmick, but when that guy gets inside that ring, absolute masterpiece.
I love his gimmick, but that's me, you know.
That's fine. Yeah. And then having read his story of him breaking his back when he was ROH champion and essentially wrestling for like 6 months with a broken back, to the point where he had almost had a career-ending, a complete injury, but he had came back from that. So to hear everything this guy's been through, and for him saying now that he's like literally 110%, I'm all here for it, man, because this guy is entertaining.
So get those F-bombs out now, because we're about to start our 10 minutes of no cursing.
Fuck.
Yeah,
that.
I did that like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah,
so
well, I just saw it 15 minutes ago, by the way, but I just saw it now, so no more cursing.
That's it. I'm like, well, I'll wait
starting
till he
now.
announces it. Oh,
boom.
Snap.
Dalton Castle,
what can I say? You're welcome.
I loved this match. I loved it great. I thought it was great. Jericho winning, of course, is, you know, the way it's going to be, because again, the storyline they're selling is the
he
sports
beats all
entertainer.
The old ROH guys.
You know, I did enjoy afterwards that he went on a rant saying that he was going to Ring of Honor. He is Ring of Honor, so Ring of Honor champions out, Ring of Honor announcers out, even Ring of Honor commentators, and he went to attack Ian Riccoboni. And then Jerry Lynn came out to stop him and got the pile driver on the championship. But so not only is he a sports entertainer with the Ring of Honor World Championship, but now he's actually actively attacking the Ring of Honor culture just in general.
It's almost like the Ring of Honor legend killer.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate him.
Yes, I do too.
I feel like you were just going to say a different word there, but you used appreciate instead.
Mm-hmm. Moving on, I am absolutely loving this gimmick of Nyla Rose, who just stole the TBS championship and now is just pretending to be the champion.
I understand Jade Cargill's anger towards like, yo, just give me my title or I'm going to hijack your show on Rampage. Like, it totally makes sense, which she didn't even do technically, but
she tried to, and then
as well.
And then security came out, and then she saw the video from backstage of Nyla Rose stealing her car, and she went after it. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. It's a decent gimmick.
And then we had the...
Speaking of which, hold on. While we're on Nyla Rose, Fabe will be very happy about this. Nyla Rose, ladies and gentlemen, now has an OnlyFans.
Fair enough.
Hangman Page versus Jon Moxley was next. We talked about that.
Why do I like OnlyFans, bud? Why are you...
I mean, do you not like OnlyFans? Have you...
I mean, let's not have that conversation right now. I'm just saying, why do you have to assume that I'm the guy who likes OnlyFans?
Again, do you not like OnlyFans?
Do you not like OnlyFans?
Listen, that's not what we're talking about here.
I feel like it is just what we're talking about.
FYI. What do we have next?
That's exactly what we were talking about.
We were talking about.
Yeah. Rampage is next, and do this one. So, Rampage, of course, always shorter because it's just an hour, less, but more packed with stuff. We had probably my favorite. Did you see the announcement when they announced the main event for this? The Orange Cassidy defending versus Roosh and Preston Vance.
Oh yes, when he so originally he wasn't supposed to be in the match though, right? He kind of just put himself into it, correct? Because he's like, "Hey, I won this title" at the backstage promo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's just Orange Cassidy, but that's when he initially put himself into the match, right? Because originally it was just supposed to be Preston and Roosh.
Yep.
And then he's like, "Hey guys, so I won this title in Canada."
Yep. In Canada.
And,
I won it. Do you see this? I won this in Canada.
In Canada.
You guys want some beers? I think Preston Vance is like the mask doesn't have a mouth, so sucks. So I don't want beers. I want to. If there's a title that I want to. Hey, you want to fight him? You want this title? You want to fight him? Well, you can fight him, and you can fight me, and I'll fight you both together for this title on Rampage. Tony, does that sound good? And then just pans over. Tony's just sitting at the end of the bar, and he just looks up. Sounds good. Book it. I thought it was golden. To me, my headcanon now is that's how everything for AEW is booked. It's just Tony Khan sitting at the end of the bar and overhearing the people arguing and whatever.
He's like, "Yep, that sounds good. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good too. Book that." Okay, great. So we started off with the Acclaimed versus the
Why do you
Varsity
assume that I'm the one who wants to watch it?
Oh my God.
Again, I'm not hearing a denial here.
Yep. No
Do
denial.
you not like OnlyFans?
I'm only a fan of the people I'm only a fan of.
Then see, you like OnlyFans.
OnlyFans.
The Acclaimed versus Varsity Athletes. Now, I do have a bit of a beef on this, and that is the name Varsity Athletes. We already had the Varsity Blondes, right?
Right. Very not creative.
We already had them, and now they take the varsity away from them? What the fuck is Griff Garrison and
Pillman Jr. doing?
Pillman gonna do?
Maybe it's Varsity Athletes versus Varsity Blondes at some point.
Who gets the varsity?
For the name Varsity. Anyways, the Acclaimed one, this was the one, Mark Sterling's owned the rights to the scissor trademark, so they weren't allowed to say scissor and all that stuff. Afterwards, they attacked Mark Sterling and then took the thing away. And
because it was supposed to be for the rights of the scissoring thing, right?
That's what they talked about, like on Dynamite, but then they never mentioned it on Rampage. I don't know.
And then, like, yeah, because then he's like, "Oh, well, I still own the rights," and I'm like, "No, but didn't they just win and you don't own the rights anymore?" And then they just made that thing happen anyways. I'm like, okay,
yeah. My only problem, real problem, aside from the varsity names, is that we always like to give AEW credit for when they do some long-term booking. So I feel like we need to call them out when they book something
really short.
The entirety of the storyline was in a week. You know?
2 weeks, yeah.
2 episodes.
Yeah. They came out on Dynamite and said, I own the trademark.
No, that was last week that he said he owned the trademark. He didn't say that in Toronto. 2 weeks. It was a 2 week.
2 weeks. Okay, 2 weeks.
But still.
Yeah.
Your point is still very valid.
Still valid. You know. We'll move on. We had Hook versus Ari Daivari. Ari tried to buy him off with... He claimed $5,000. It was just a bunch of cash in his hands, and Hook slapped him and then beat the tar out of him, made him tap out.
I mean, they really just got to do something else with Hook, though. Like, put this guy in a legitimate match.
I liked it just fine. It was fine.
What do you mean legitimate match?
Like
You don't
just
feel
like
like
a
these are legitimate
non-squash.
matches when he beats somebody?
You don't think Ari Davari is a talented competitor?
I think Ari Davari is a very talented
So?
competitor. I think WWE did not use him well at all.
Okay.
Um,
So
but
he's
it
talented.
wasn't that long. His matches are literally not longer than
So
2 minutes.
he's dominant. What do you want to say? Did you have a problem with Mike Tyson, who was winning legitimate fights in 30 seconds?
No, that's different, though.
No, because he
totally
was
different.
fucking dominant. I just looked up at the time, and I have to apologize.
You fucked up.
But now you did. Now you did.
What
You know what I didn't? You know what I didn't do?
Vindication.
You know what I didn't do?
You didn't F up.
I didn't talk at all.
Yeah, you just kept your mouth shut.
But OnlyFans.
I'm not the one who brought up the OnlyFans thing. Like, I feel like the fact that you know
You
that
just keep
says
bringing it
something
up.
more about you.
I mean, it was just something that I saw, and I thought it'd be a nice little joke, and you would have fun with it. And here I am. I was right.
So, when Mike Tyson was coming out and just murking Rubes in 30 seconds,
Broke my back.
what
Spinal.
did it make you feel like? It made you feel like Mike Tyson was invincible, right?
This is not that.
I think this is what it's setting up. It's setting him up. He's going to start beating more and more higher profile people. Because here's what's going to happen: is Ari Davari is part of the Trustbusters, right? Who else is in the Trustbusters? Parker Boudreaux, and the dude who wears his stupid visor upside down. Can't remember his name. T-Money or something like that. I don't know. Anyways,
Yeah.
so next
Where's
match
Parker
is gonna,
Boudreaux been to? Jesus.
he's
haven't
wrestled
seen
a few
him in a
times on
minute.
Dark.
Oh,
Wrestled
okay.
a few times on Dark.
Okay.
I'll be back.
I do think they're
Going to OnlyFans? I see how it is.
I do think they're letting him ripen a bit on Dark because he's still a little green. But
Okay, that's fair.
they're eventually going to have Hook probably versus Parker Boudreaux in a big high-profile match that'll last a while.
That's fair. Okay.
So
I'm waiting
but
for
first, But first, Hook has to beat Ari Davari like he did this week, and then he's got to beat again whatever the
visor dude,
douche nozzle with the visor upside down. Don't know his name anyway. We had a card change. Penelope Ford was injured and unable to compete, so Willow Nightingale instead had to fight Layla Gray, one of the baddies.
right?
Who was fine.
I mean, Willow's honestly, she's always super energetic, super always there in the moment, takes everything with a grain of salt, and a good wrestler. Like, I just want her to be more in a promo, but in this case, you know, it was what it was. But
it was a fine match.
It was a fun match.
It did end with the announcement that Willow Nightingale is now All Elite officially.
Yeah.
So she now is under contract, and that's really cool.
Which I was like, oh, okay. I thought she was already All Elite, but sure.
And then the main event, Orange Cassidy versus Roosh versus Preston Vance for the All Atlantic Championship. Now, I liked this match. It's a fun match. Did anyone think going into this match that there was any chance that Orange Cassidy was either going to lose or that Roosh was going to take the pin? Because I didn't.
Right.
This was 100% set up to further and set up a storyline, Roosh versus Orange Cassidy. And Preston Vance was basically there to take the pin.
Right.
Nothing against Preston Vance, but I think
But he
that's
looked good in the match, though.
I do think that they are still trying to set up, because remember, Preston Vance was doing a program with Andrade, where Andrade wanted him in the group, and
oh wait, yeah, that was the thing. That was the whole point of that match. But then Orange Cassidy got involved because that match was supposed to be, hey, I'll face you on Rampage. If I win,
that match was supposed to be last week on Rampage. And so last week on Rampage, they then changed it to Dark Order versus something. I gotta.
Yeah, so it was supposed to be on this week's Rampage because I believe on Dynamite, that's where they mentioned the whole. Listen, stop asking me. You've been bothering us all the time. The Dark Order kind of got involved.
Well, that's it. They pivoted, but it still wasn't directly the replacement match because the Andrade match was going to be a
well, not the Andrade match though. It was supposed to be Preston versus Roosh.
Well, but first it was supposed to be Preston versus Andrade. That was the match that was supposed to happen a week ago.
Well, yeah, but Andrade likes to punch people, you know.
Yeah, but Andrade likes to punch people, exactly. But it was supposed to be Andrade versus Preston 2 weeks ago. And it was a mask versus career match. If Andrade won, Preston was going to lose his mask. If Preston won, Andrade had to leave AEW. And then instead, Andrade decided to punch Sammy Guevara in the face, which, again, I mean, that's fair. But still. So then they pivoted. But because Roosh is part of LIJ, LIA? Los Ignorables.
We'll say LIA.
America? I don't know.
Was that an energy drink?
LIJ is the Japanese version, which this isn't in Japan, so
What?
Just a little late.
That's a cookie. Homemade.
Well, that's
made
fine.
them today.
Nice. Got a fellow little baker over here. A baker who watches OnlyFans while he bakes.
You're a little baker.
Yeah, little baker.
I feel like it would be appropriate if OnlyFans didn't just have porn on it.
OnlyFans does have more than just porn on it.
Yeah, but not some local dude who has a baking show or.
I mean, I doubt that.
But anyways, but this is a great match. I still enjoyed this match. Orange Cassidy won. They're probably, I think they're still going to end up having a masked match where Preston Vance loses his mask. Because I think that's just where they're leaning. They want him to be maskless. I get it. He's a good-looking guy.
Is he?
Yeah.
What was his name before? If I go Preston Vance, I'll be able to find him with no mask.
Yep. He wrestled on Dark a few times as Vanilla Vance. He also used to be a regular on Ethan Page's vlog.
Yep, good looking fella. He would definitely do a lot better without the mask, I feel.
That's kind of my thoughts. I think that's what they're aiming for, is they, want him to eventually be maskless so that so the ladies can swoon. And the men can swoon too. There will be swooning happening.
There'll be swooning happening. And he'll potentially just leave the Dark Order.
Mm-hmm. I did really like after the match, though. Preston Vance looked a little bit like he was kind of out of sorts and everything. And then as he was leaving, Roosh came and was trying to get him to join the group. And he looked like maybe he was going to, and then -1 came running out and tried to attack Roosh. And Vance just picked him up and threw him over his shoulder and carried him out. I thought it was funny.
But yeah, I think maybe that's what's going to happen, like you were alluding to. When he loses his mask, he's probably going to join the... what are they called? The firm? No, not the firm.
LIA. Los Ignorables. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Andrade's group, which might be now Roosh's group, because Andrade most likely is going to be on vacation for a long time.
I mean, it means the ungovernables in in Spanish.
Ingles. Okay.
But I can't remember what the American version is. La Facion Ignorables, I think is what they're calling it now.
Okay.
Anyways,
Either way,
but
not
because
that
there's
important.
the Japanese version that's Los Ignorables de Japón. And but that's all for AEW this week. We talked about NXT. Fun week all in all. There were some ups and downs. Again, it's nice. It's one of those things you feel bad saying. It's nice to hear that Hangman Page had a concussion because
Only in concussion.
yeah, one even saying only a concussion is tough because a concussion is still fucking bad news, right?
For sure. But it could always be worse. Look what happened with Big E and
Yeah, and that's the deal.
So.
The fact that it wasn't. I've watched that a dozen times since the last time we kind of talked about it. I'm still fairly certain he was out before he hit the ground.
Yeah,
right?
It really looks like that lariat. I think maybe he didn't.
I think the lariat hit
duck
high.
Or
it hit him right about
he didn't
here.
duck. Yeah.
And I think he started the cell when he got hit, and then I think he was out. The cell just continued over, but because of that, he almost landed flat on his head because he just was no longer in control of his body.
Right.
There's a YouTube a concussion doctor, not Chris Nowinski, a different. This is an actual doctor who went and said, listen, I do a lot of covering concussions for NFL and for all that stuff, but everyone's been tagging me in this, so I want to talk about it. And he talked about how he believes the concussion happened at the beginning, and that you still have to be worried about neck injuries, right? Because you can have both a concussion and neck injury, right?
Right.
But like when Hangman Page landed, you saw his whole body kind of stiffen up, which is a symptom of concussion. Your muscles all tense up. That's why they talk about the claw hand as a symptom. If you see a football player take a big hit and they get up and their hand is kind of clawed for a bit, that's a symptom of concussion there.
Oh, really?
Because it causes this muscle spasm.
But you're still able to get up?
Yeah. And then eventually, yeah. And then, the shaking the head, the shaking off the cobwebs is a thing. Of course, Hangman Page didn't do any of that because he was out.
He was out.
But
you were that nice.
Yeah. But again, like I say, it just sounds wrong to say only a concussion, but it could have been so much worse. And
much worse.
And so concussion in that situation, a concussion was probably the best option.
I mean, other than no damage at all, and just ran too fast across the ring.
Exactly, but so here's hoping he recovers soon. In related news, apparently Adam Cole is out with a concussion and he's having a hard time recovering from it. So here's hoping. He can turn things around. But
we wish them both speedy recoveries, whether or not it means no wrestling again.
Yeah. And even if it means wrestling,
you guys do your passion.
I would rather them both sit out a couple more months after, or even a year after. Yeah. Here's the deal. Like, in AEW, right now, you've got Anthony Bowens and fucking blanking on his name. Platinum Max Caster. There we go. Who are both stars in the making. You've got Sammy Guevara that some people hate, but is a star in the making. You've got Ricky Starks, star in the making. You've got a lot of people who can kind of step in and fill the shoes for a while. So let these people fully recover from their thing. The AEW will be fine. You know, Danhausen, Orange Cassidy will continue to draw people. Chris Jericho will continue to draw people. The best friends will still be the best friends.
I didn't know they were artists.
Yeah, they draw people all the time. Speaking of drawing people, this is actually painting people. Apparently, MJF and his fiance got into a fight this week, so his fiance decided to paint a portrait of John Moxley, just to piss him off.
You see what happened? You cheat on your girlfriend 10 times, and
I will say, someone tweeted at MJF, "What's the first thing you're gonna do after you win the world title?" And he said, "Have sex with my hot girlfriend while wearing it." And I just want to point out to MJF, have you seen how those belts fit? It's going to be really hard to wear it and have sex.
I mean, good luck.
Yeah.
I mean, wear it on his neck.
That's carrying it. Yeah. He said wear it. That's all I'm saying. Over the shoulder.
Over the shoulder. Yeah.
You know, it's just, I don't know. Reports have it, like we said earlier, that they're working on buying out CM Punk's contract. That does mean that it's also likely that we'll start to see the Elite start to return, especially once the contract buyout is done.
Well, as I reported on the other show too, there were Young Buck cameos, I think, on when they were showing the ROH stuff, and they're apparently back on the stuff for November.
I'll point out there also was CM Punk on the Ring of Honor stuff too. So
right.
So they were both mentioned and referenced. So that's a sign, I think, that things are almost done. But again, the CM Punk thing is the biggest sign that the Elite will be back in some form soon. Also, the report came out, but news came out in based on sources that while I was wrong, there was indeed talks between WWE and AEW about Billy Gunn being on the DX Anniversary Raw. It was not AEW that called it off.
It was Billy Gunn?
It was WWE.
It was WWE.
Why?
WWE and AEW had talks back and forth, and Tony Khan had only one thing for Billy Gunn. It wasn't money. It wasn't anything. All he said was, "I just want you to introduce him as AEW wrestler or representing AEW or whatever. I just want you to mention that he currently is on loan from AEW in some way, right? Just like you did at Royal Rumble when Mickie James came and you said Impact Wrestling champion, women's champion, Mickie James. All I want you to do is say AEW wrestler or currently working for AEW, whatever. And WWE went back and forth, and at the last minute called and said to Tony Khan, we're not gonna do that. He's not appearing. So it's WWE that was the reason that Billy Gunn was not on WWE Raw. Not AEW in any way, shape, or form. So, because I think that's a perfectly fair ask, right?
It's fair, but at the same time, I wouldn't have done it. Not for a DX reunion. You know what I mean? If it was something maybe a bit bigger, I don't know, that would really build one of your storylines, cool. But not for a reunion. Nah, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to give you my millions of viewers a mention to your AEW company. No.
And that's fine. I'm just saying that if we're going to try to be angry at a company. Let's make sure that we're angry at the right company.
Oh no, that's fair. Yeah. Yeah.
Because for a week, I saw all over the internet
That it was
people
AEW's fault and blah blah
angry
blah.
that Tony Khan wouldn't put aside his things and let. In fact, there's like the interview with Road Dogg. And Road Dogg said, yeah, I was texting back and forth with Billy, and he said he was going to do it. And then at the last minute, he just said he wasn't going to. I don't know what happened. Really, Road Dogg, you don't know what happened? You know what happened. You just didn't want to admit that it was your guys that stopped him.
That's it.
Right? And I'm fine with WWE saying, no, we don't want to. But just come out and own it, right?
That's it.
Anyway. But on that news, we've gone 2.5 hours. I think that's a good, solid podcast there.
Nope. Not too shabby.
Not too shabby. Got some decent cards.
A little bit chaotic.
It was very chaotic.
A little bit very chaotic.
That's par for the course on this. But I got my Chris Statlander opened, and
I certainly heard all those boxes being open while you were talking.
I got my
the Lex Express Lex Luger
open, showing off the muscles. I got my Trenty Locks opened,
finishing up the best friends.
Mm-hmm. I got my Sting.
Oh, it's Sting!
It's Sting!
It's Sting!
So yeah, I'll probably, set up the best friends as a whole group over here somewhere. Wow, best friends. Anyway, but so on that note, we're gonna go ahead and close the book on the wrestling booking unit. Is it any surprise that my brother thinks I should be on Ritalin?
Nope, no surprise.
Huh?
I think
what?
It's spot on.
Yeah, my brother, who's in med school, says I should be on Ritalin, and I say, "I'm sorry, were you talking?"
Hey, well, you guys can follow me, of course, at twitch.tv/JLBTLC25. And Real Talk Radio is still the brand. I do have my Black Adam review up, currently only on Facebook for some odd reason, but that will be up on all platforms as well, along with the Barney documentary that I watched from, I believe it was Peacock. I will be reviewing that as well.
Hey, watch your language.
It's a name of a company. It's a name of a company. Peacock. So it works. And links are down below in the doobly-doos. For everything else, I do a little bit of everything. So if you're interested in movies, music, games, all that, links are down below in the doobly-doos. But you can also follow me at twitch.tv/JLBTLC25, because why not? We're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. Back to you guys.
It's my turn. Yes. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the live stream. If you're a Amazon Prime member, you can subscribe for free. Right?
For free?
For free. Great way to help us out there. Throw us a few bucks that way. Otherwise, you can shop our merch store where you can get Pissant Podcast merch or t-shirts to sign or all sorts of stuff.
Oh, he's got his new toque.
JLB's got to go get his toque. I also want to point out, I meant to point this out earlier. This is my Pro Wrestling Crate shirt, right? Capital Combat. Pro Wrestling Crate's the best.
And look at me. Look, you can get this lovely little toque as well. You know, it is wintertime, folks, and I'm sure in Nebraska it gets pretty chilly too.
Yeah.
It was 87 degrees today.
Yeah.
It was pretty hot today too, though. It was 17. But nothing like being over-prepared and getting yourself a WBU toque. It is warm. It is in different colors. I prefer yellow. But you can certainly get that at our Stream Elements shop. on Raw and Order WBU.
Yep. So yeah, link is in the doobly-doos and on the profile page and all of that stuff for that. If you're listening to this on the podcast, it's going to be in the doobly-doos in the audio format. It's also going to be up on YouTube eventually, so you can do it there. But again, the way you watch it live and get it first is on twitch.tv/Raw and Order WBU, where you can follow us for free and subscribe for free if you're a Amazon Prime member. You can follow me on almost all the social medias at Raw and Order WBU, like it says right there. Right. And except on Facebook, where it's at Piss Hand Podcast, because reasons. You can follow DA Fabe at
DA Vincent Kayfabe.
Hey, well done.
On Twitter.
Look at you go.
That's it.
on Twitter.
That's it. That's it.
But on that note, we are going to go ahead and close the book on the Wrestling Booking Unit. Thank you all for listening. We will see you soon.
Bye.